Last week, I posted a video talking about another recall on the 2024 Toyota RAV4 and the 2025 Lexus NX. At that time, there seems to be a limited information other than that we know that it's related to the brakes and wheels, and the wheels could fall off or it will take much longer to stop because something is wrong with the brakes. And we know that there's about 70 in the US and 10 in Canada. And now in this video, I will provide more information on the repair, the cause of the recall, and any interesting details. Let's get to it. Hey, it's LSF here today, and today we're here to look at the recall. This time we're looking at the details. Last time we know high level 70 vehicles in US, 10 in Canada, and something wrong with the steering and brakes area. So now we can see more information here. We can see here it says production September 6th. So only one day of production that we're seeing this issue. Okay, they're saying 70. This is the RAV4 and this is the NX. I'll talk about the defect in the defect report because that gives you more information, but you can see here we have 5 components, mostly brakes, the caliper related bolts. So they have 3 different types of bolts and 2 bolts that are part of the flange. All right, so no manufacturer because this is just bolts that they're looking at. And other than that, they're saying that they're planning to tell owners January 20th to February 3rd in the US. I think in Canada, it's a bit later because we probably only have 10 and we don't know what the breakdown is. All right, so let's move on to the defect report. I think that's where the main thing is. So in the defect report, we can see that Team MMC, so only vehicles produced in Canada. So you can see RAV4 on September 6th and NX is on September 6th, only one day of production. All right, so we continue down and you can see that we have different part numbers. So for the RAV4, there's these 5 part numbers, and the NX, it seems like they have less part numbers for whatever reason. So you can see here, we have the same part number here, we have the same one here, but for the RAV4, there's actually an extra part number. Do not know why. So now we have the breakdown. So RAV4, there's 54 RAV4s that are impacted. 3 NX 250s, 5 NX 350Hs, and 8 NX 350s. That adds up to 70. So we take that ratio and look at for the Canada market 10. It's hard to say. It could be 5 RAV4s, 1 NX, or just a few NXs. So we don't know. But this gives us a sense of not impactful to the NX, but more to the RAV4. All right, so now we have the description of the thing. I think we talked about the description, so I don't think I'm going to be talking much about this piece. But if you're interested, we have a very short video talking about what's the problem. I think the next important thing is here, what happened and why is this causing the problem? All right, so on October 11th, Toyota received a dealer report on a 2025 Lexus NX vehicle about the owner's complaint that the wheel's weight, which are attached to the inner radius of the wheel, had been detached from the left front wheel. So when they were looking at that inspection, the dealer technician observed a scrape mark around the inner radius of the wheel. They also observed that one of the 2 bolts that attached the brake caliper mounting bracket to the front suspension steering knuckle was missing, allowing the brake caliper to move and contact the inner radius of the wheel, so it's scraping it. So Toyota had begun investigation the manufacturing process used to install the tightening brake caliper mounting bracket on this subject vehicle. So based on the review of the production records, the brake calipers on the vehicle of the dealer's report were assembled to the suspension late in the evening on September 5th, 2024, a day in which the manufacturing equipment used to install and tighten the 2 front brake caliper mounting bracket bolts. One of the 4 bearing bolts attaching the wheel to the suspension arm was inoperable for a few hours and being repaired. During this short time, a backup tool was used to manually install and tighten both the brake calipers and mounting bracket bolts and one of the 4 hub bearing bolts. So they used a different equipment to install the brake calipers, and probably that backup equipment had an issue. So Toyota initiated a survey of vehicles in the dealer inventory and found that front caliper bolts and one hub bearing bolt installed on the same production date using the Ford method backup process. Based on that survey, 5 of the 9 vehicles inspected had one or more brake caliper mounts and or wheel hub bearing bolts measured below the design torque specification. So five of those vehicles were actually found. So 6 of them are already found, not sold to any customers yet. So based on the original report and the survey results, Toyota undertook an analysis potential effect on loose brake caliper mounting brackets and wheel hub bearing bolts. The analysis confirmed 3 points. If one of the brake caliper mounting bracket bolts loosened over time and eventually detaches, the caliper can move and contact the side of the wheel, resulting in an abnormal rattling noise. If you found that, definitely get it checked out. So if both brake caliper mounting brackets detach, in addition to the rattling noise, the loose caliper can cause additional stress on the brake hose, damaging it to a point where the fluid leak could occur. And number 3, if the bolt bearing bolt loosens over time, it can allow movement between the front axle hub assembly and the steering knuckle, resulting in vibration and abnormal noise from the front axle area and potentially causing other 3 hub bowling bears to loosen and or detach, which could lead to wheel separation. A brake fluid leak may lead to increasing stopping distance, and wheel separation can lead to a loss of vehicle control. So either one can actually increase the risk of a crash. So then on December 3rd, based on the above investigation, Toyota decided to conduct a voluntary safety recall. And based on what they found, there's only one warranty claim, and that's one that actually got them to get this recall done. And overall, I think they submitted this recall. So what they're doing is they're saying that they're going to reach out to the Toyota dealers. And I think personally, if I saw this and if my car was built in September 2025, I probably would actually just inspect it myself just to make sure, because you rather know now than when things starts falling off. They're really looking at, is there any issues with the bolt? Is there any damage in the wheel area? And if there is, I would immediately go to the dealership and try to get them to look at it. Based on the steps that they're looking at, it's a very simple fix. So they're saying that they are going to notify February 3rd, and they probably will do this a little bit earlier. And then let's now look at the repair. Follow me on Instagram at LSFT Videos. You can see updates on my experience with the NX 450h Plus, which may not be shown on any future videos. You can reach out to me via direct messaging if you have any questions on your Lexus. If you like this video, you can provide me feedback in the comments below, like this video, share it with your friends. This definitely will help with the YouTube algorithms. Press the subscribe button and bell icon and get notified when new videos show up. And lastly, if you want to support me further, you can provide me a super thanks, or visit my Amazon storefront before you purchase anything from Amazon, and or you can purchase products from the list on the items that I've been using with my vehicle or at home at no extra cost to you. And now let's continue with the video. So this is the technical instructions for the safety recall, and this is particularly for the Lexus. RAV4 has a different document, but I'm not going to go through the RAV4 one because essentially they're identical. So when you look at it, mostly the parts are bolts, so it's not very expensive. We can look at the parts and look at the cost of that later, and then you look at the background. So you can see there's 4 bolts here that will attach to this component, the flange, and then there's also 2 bolts for the brake calipers. All right, so it's interesting that they have a cadmium orange NX, but there's no 2025 NX that's cadmium orange. So they must have just took a picture of a cadmium orange and then took it as the picture. So you can see here, it says you raise the car. So on the driver's side, you have these 4 bolts and these 2 additional caliper bolts. They're telling you to review it, and then you turn the wheel to the right towards the passenger side, and then you would be able to see these two bolts. Turn it to the other side, you would see these other two bolts, and then you would also be able to see the caliper bolts and just see if there's anything that's loose. And then after that, that's the inspection. So if they do say that there's missing bolts, or you see that it's loose, they should take the bolt out and look at if there's any damage. So you can see this one, there's no more threads here, and there's still threads here, and this one is what it should look like. So then they do the same thing with the passenger side, okay? And they do this type of inspection. They look at the bolts, same bolts that they're looking at on the other side, same thing, and that's all there really is, right? And then they're saying that, okay, if you want to make sure that these bolts are in the right specifications, so they do tell you that these first two bolts should be 120 nanometers, 89 pound-feet of torque, and also 3, 4 is the same thing. And then for 5 and 6, for steel knuckles, it's 79 pound-feet of torque, 107 nanometers, or aluminum knuckles is 150 nanometers, 111 pound-feet of torque. Same thing goes with the passenger side. So really, that's all the things that they're doing. So reality is any technician, actually based on this document, should be able to look at your car and say, is there any issues and what needs to be done? Even personally yourself could actually do this as well. All right, so that's all there is on the what needs to be done here. And then I think the last piece is here where I wanted to show you, and it's really just talking about 3, 8, and 5. They do say here they're going to mail it mid-January 2025. What they're saying is it's going to take 1.1 hours of labor to get this repaired. They're saying that there's 0.1 hours that is included into the administration cost, so really 1 hour to do this inspection and ensure everything is correct. Reality is jacking it up, checking these bolts, checking the torque. If there's no problems, it's probably less than an hour. But if they had to go and do the investigation, and if they did have missing bolts or loose bolts, that's where I think that 1 hour comes in play. So about 16 were NXs, and then if we look at here, for the RAV4, they said 50 here. So if you add the two together, it's really just 66. So 70, so there's 4, probably 4 has not been sold yet, so they did not include it as part of this recall because they can fix it at the dealership and before they sell it. So definitely not a stop sale, and definitely a simple fix. And last but not least, looking at the parts. So all those like bolts and all that, they add up to $16.86 for one side. So worst case is about $34 of parts. And this is MSRP. So for Toyota, this will cost a lot less. And then when you look at that piece, total labor. So labor is probably a little bit more expensive. So probably if you look at it, probably $100, they'll get it fixed already. But then one thing I want to make note, and if you are one of those owners, and if your rims were actually scratched, I would highly suggest making sure that they would replace those rims. Again, it's not your fault. You're not the one who's caused your rims to have a scratch inside. So if this does happen, do make sure that you get the set of rims replaced and not have a scratched up rim. It's interior rims, you probably not see it, but overall, it's a brand new car. You do not want to have something that is a manufacturer defect, and that should be repaired as well. I hope that you found that this video was informative, and until next video, drive safely. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please comment, like, share this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel and press that bell icon to get notified when new videos are posted. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can provide me a super thanks. And until next time, cheers.